was, you know Don Costa?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don called us. I was doing like demos for Don. That's how I kind of started doing studio work.
Oh.
He had a publishing company and had these writers. So they were hiring me and a bunch of young guys, man. They were playing out of tune and stuff, you know, to play on these song demos. And eventually they moved the studio from Hollywood. It was in a little place in Hollywood, and they moved it to Don's house in like, I guess he was in Brentwood or something like that. So Don was hanging around and, and then all of a sudden he started to call us for his song demos that he was doing. He started calling this rhythm section because we were getting pretty good, you know. And then one day my phone rings and it was his brother, Leo, booking me on this session. I couldn't believe it, man. It was like, you're kidding me. And no, this actually, it said it had been scheduled, but it was canceled. The musicians were paid, but no, this thing actually went down, man.
Yeah, I mean, what I read about that, maybe you found something else, but what I read about it, it definitely did happen, and the musicians are all listed as to when they played. So was Sinatra there?
Yeah.
Yeah? What was it like working with him?
He was there, huh?
What was it like working with him?
I'll tell you one thing, man. The conductor, his conductor. Let's see if I can see where this. It looks to me like the 16th of July. Let me see this, man. This is tripping. You're tripping me out here, man. Do you think that this music is available?
Well, certainly if it was recorded, it had to have been saved somewhere. So I mean, I bet there's stuff that just, who knows where this information even comes from. I don't know.
David Schwartz. I mean, hey, dude, it was so long ago.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things I remember, though, man.
Yeah.
He was really cool. Essentially, the guitar chairs were like kind of in front, pretty close to his vocal mic. And he came right over, man, and said hello, shook our hands, and was like real sweet. It's crazy. It was crazy, man. And then they had a couple of baffles, like his back was facing the glass, right, for the control room.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a couple of baffles set up, and his mic and stuff. And a couple of things I just remember about the thing, man, is he had his guys, that were like taking care of him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he would put his hand on the other side of this baffle, so you could like just see his hand, and he snapped his fingers. It just happened like once, I think. And this dude came flying out of the control room, man. What can I get? What can I do for you? What can I do? But the other thing I remember was the actual conductor on the date was wearing like a blue long sleeve shirt. About a half hour in, man, he was soaked head to toe. That must have been Vincent Falcone. Just like he was so nervous, man. He was just, literally, he was just dripping with. It's crazy. But yeah, man. So I've always wondered if this music ever was...
Oh, here you go. Wait a minute. Now I found it on the Sinatra family. Now, so you must have done 2 dates, because in other words, there's a new Sinatra song that's been discovered 3 months ago. It was Nancy Sinatra, confirmed a few days ago. This was in 2002.
Okay, hang on. Let me get to this. I don't want, man, because you know something? I think I might have done one when he wasn't there. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, because it kind of indicated when I was reading it that it was just the string section that was brought in or something like that. I'm not sure, but so apparently they did find these songs, 3 songs. There you go.
So, because you know what, when Don called me, or when Leo called, he said Frank just said, call the boys, man, we're going to go in the studio, like for no particular reason other than just, we want to go do this. He wanted to go do this thing. And it was my understanding that this was just a novelty thing. It wasn't for any project. It was never going to see the light of day. It was just, and I thought that Don Costa was really cool because, we were pretty green, man. Me and my buddy, Bob Walden, that we used to do all the guitar work for him on his, demos, and he was starting to use this on some of his records. We did a couple of other albums with him, but nothing like of this magnitude, So I thought it was really trippy that he kind of called the young cats, man, to come in and play, you know.
Can you tell me about Costa, what he was like?
Well, gosh, I mean, you know, what do you say? He was a brilliant musician, man. Obviously, you know, guitar player.
He was an arranger, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he started out as a guitar player, and he was brilliant, man. So he'd be busting us all the time, man. He'd be like, you know, I remember the first time he saw my strobe tuner, like an electronic tuner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I mean, we all, you know, back in the day, it was like, you know, you had to get your guitar in tune. You needed one of these tuners, you know. And I remember him. We were at a studio called Group 4, and I have no idea what we were doing, but we were doing this project, and I had my tuner, and he's like looking, he goes, "What the hell is that?" I'm like, "It's a tuner." He goes, "You can't tune with your ear?" Like, no, Don, I'm tuning with my eye, man. That's what I got to do to be in tune, you know. But you know, he was a very personable guy, real likable, man. You know, we would come to his house, and it was like kind of like, you know, my house is your house kind of thing. You know, go hang out in the kitchen, man, have food, talk to the wife. You know, I mean, he was a really just a very approachable, you know, kind of guy. You know,
and he wrote beautiful arrangements. I mean, from what I can tell.
Yeah, scary stuff. I mean, you know, every time I ever worked with him, it was like, geez, you know, you listen to this stuff, and you're like, I mean, a lot of the stuff we did was just rhythm section at his house, and then every now and again we'd get on something where he had, you know, an orchestra and stuff like that, or you'd cut, you know, there was one album that I did with him that I would love. I think it came out. It was by, I can't remember this guy's name, Kenny Rankin.
Yeah, Kenny Rankin.
You know Kenny Rankin?
Yeah, I remember the name.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I ran into him after I moved to Massachusetts. I ran into him on the plane. I was coming back from L.A., and he was coming back from somewhere, and I said, "Kenny Rankin, dude, I played on an album with Don Costa with you back in the 70s or something." And he goes, "Man, that album did well, you know." And I was like, I never did find out the name of it or anything like that. I've always wanted to kind of check that out. You know?
Probably find it now on the internet.
I probably could.
Yeah.
So how do we know if this? I gotta bookmark this thing. How do we know if this music? Does it say down? I mean, I haven't read through this. Does it say that it was released or?
I don't think they released it. I'm not really sure. I know they've been releasing some compilation albums, and they like to throw an unreleased track on, you know, whenever they do that to sell.
Hey, but you know something? I've got proof now, man.
Yeah, it's right here.
I've been telling people for years, man.
Oh, really? Nobody believes you?
Yeah. I mean, they believe me, but I think they're kind of looking at me like, "Yeah, Walsh, you know, you're a little nutty, man." I mean, but I would tell them the story. I'd go, "Look, I mean, this is God's honest truth. I mean, you know, it flabbergasted me. I'll never forget my wife, who was from Massachusetts, had just moved to Los Angeles. We weren't married, and she was, you know, she had moved out there and gotten a place, and we were hanging at my house, man, in Burbank. And the phone rings, man. I'll never forget it. And it was Leo, and I'm thinking, "Oh, Leo's going to book me on some song demos." You know, it's like, "Can you be at Warner Brothers on the blah 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 for Frank Sinatra?" I'm like, "You're kidding me, man." I'm like, I come to the phone and go, "Libby, man, I'm playing with Frank." You know? But yeah, I tell people the story, man, but I've never had any proof. So now I got some proof. It's kind of fun, you know.
Do you remember the songs that he did? Do you remember were they up tempo or just
No, I don't. And as a matter of fact, what's funny is I thought, yeah, it was Tom Hensley, huh?
Now Al Viola, he was a really good guitar player, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was an old school guy, man. He was with Frank for, you know.
Oh yeah.
Tim May and myself, we were kind of. I think Tim was just a couple of years older than me. Al was like he was from another generation.
Yeah.
He was from, you know. But yeah, man, I'm just reading through this. Ester, that should be Ellen Estes.
Huh.
Now, I wonder if they ever. Well, it says that they've been rediscovered, right?
Yeah.
So
he apparently re-recorded 2 of the songs. So God Really Looks Like in You and Me.
Oh,
or the
okay. Redone.
Trilogy.
Okay, got it.
So, and Remember's never resurfaced on anything else. It's